was young, it was never like I made a decision to be a drug addict when I grew up, you know. My dream was always to be a hairstylist as a little girl, you know. I had dreams just like every other little girl in the world. And growing up, my mom was my best friend, and my gran and my mother would always go to the salon on weekends and have their hair blow-awed, and I used to watch them have it done, and I used to dream and say, one day I'll be doing my mom's hair. That's what I want to do. I want to make people feel good. And I loved how being in the salon made me feel. That's all I wanted to do when I grew up, you know. I hated life at home. You know, both my parents were addicts, and at a point it was terrifying growing up with them, but it had reached a point where it didn't even scare me anymore. It was just a terrible environment to be around, you know. There was no excitement or fun in my life or any joy, and that's all I wanted. I wanted a bit of excitement and fun in my life, and you know, I went out there to find it, and I found it in drugs and experimenting with all different kinds of drugs and hanging out with older people who made me feel like I fitted in, you know. And you know, the only way to enjoy life was by, you know, using this drug or using that drug, and I tried them all, and I loved it. I finally felt like, oh, there's something to live for, you know. There's a bit of excitement in my life now. It's really hard for me. She never gave up on me, and eventually she just couldn't take it anymore, I suppose. And unfortunately, I lost her at the age of 18 to suicide, and that was a really tough time in my life, you know. I felt like all hope that was there was gone, and I was all alone, and the only life I knew was the life of an addict in Hillbrow, you know. The only place I felt accepted was in Hillbrow, and all I had was my drugs in Hillbrow, and that's what I became, this addict in Hillbrow who just had to do whatever she had to do to get her drugs and to get through another day in this scary world of addiction, which is exactly what I did. I did anything for drugs. Sure, I thought I was going to die. Like, that was the end of the road for me, you know. Everyone had given up hope on me. My father had no interest in me. I was all alone on the streets, and I accepted that I was going to die. And fortunately for me, my stepmother, she still had hope in me, you know, after all these years. And she picked me up off the streets, and she brought me to Arc Addiction Recovery Centre, and I walked in here with nothing, the clothes on my back and a packet of nachos. And you know, that was the day my journey began, you know, because I really thought there was no hope for me. And you know, it's amazing to see that there is hope, and that there is a life of happiness and recovery, and there isn't a day that goes by that I'm not grateful for where I am today, because I really didn't think I'd be here. So to be able to have a relationship with my son and my stepmom is truly something that brings a lot of joy and happiness to my heart.